I was down. I grew up. I spent some time growing up in Augusta. My dad was in school down there when I was a kid. He went to school late, and I was down in Augusta growing up, elementary school. And so I have some friends from Augusta, and they have Masters tickets. So I call them every now and then. I'll go to the Masters. So I called because I wanted to take my 13-year-old Colin to the Masters. And we went down to the Masters, and we spent all day. And what we did when we got through, we stayed at my friend Frank Gibbons' house, who's the one that had the tickets. And we usually hang out there, and his wife cooks us dinner. And then we get up the next morning, and we come home. Well, at 11:30 that night, after we had gone to a practice round, my phone rings. And my wife says, Steve, you've got to come. You got to get up early and come home early in the morning. I said, why? She said, we just saw on the news that they're having tryouts for The Apprentice. And Elise and I, that's my 15-year-old, we've decided that you need to try out for The Apprentice. I went, what? Yeah, we know. Then my little girl said, yeah, Daddy, I think you'd be awesome. I think you would be awesome. You got to go try out. I said, what time are the tryouts? They said, 8 o'clock. I said, I'm in Augusta. How am I going to get back to Atlanta by 8 o'clock? I said, no, it's not, She said, please, Daddy, please. And I said, no. She said, let me talk to Colin. So she gets on the phone, my 13-year-old. You got to talk Daddy into going. You got to talk him into going. So we hang up the phone, and for 30 minutes he wouldn't let up. And I said, you know what? This is important to him, so I'm going to make it important to me. So we decided. So I said, Colin, if you can get me up at 4:30 in the morning, if you remember to wake up, then we'll go and I'll go try out for The Apprentice. He said, you got it, Dad. And this kid has never gotten up before 9 or 10 o'clock in his life. 4:30, Dad, we got to go. I'm going, God, I can't believe it. So we get in the car and we're driving down I-20. I don't know, 5:30, 6 o'clock, there's a wreck. Tractor trailer overturned, had rebarb on it. It looked like pixie sticks all over I-20. We sat there for over 2 hours. I'm telling you, dude, we're not going to make it. We're going anyway. Oh, and we're in like our gym shorts and tank tops. Okay? Because I was planning on going up, take a shower, and going to work. So anyway, we finally get to Lenox where they're having this tryout, and we walk in this banquet room, and there's thousands of people in there, and everybody is decked to the nines except for Colin and I. We look like we're at the beach. And so I said, are you still letting people try out? She said, you're the very last one. So we sit down, and so we had to sit there all day as they were going through all these interviews, and there was 1,000 people in the room. It was ridiculous. So Colin is sitting there going, Dad, you got to put your book on these people. You got to make this thing happen. I said, well, go scope the thing out. So Colin comes back and he says, here's what happens, Dad. They take people like 12, 15 people, and they take them over in this other place, and it's kind of like a staging area. And you're going to be there, and then they take you into this room. I don't know what goes on in there, but you're in there for about 15 minutes, and then you come out. I said, all right, well, when I get to that staging area, I said, if there's a place for you to sit, I want you to sit down. I want you to watch what I'm talking about when I say have deeper conversations with people. He said, okay. Well, heck, it was like 8 o'clock that night. I'm the last 12, right? And we go to this staging area. And there's a guy standing there, bald-headed dude, kind of short, meticulously dressed. I said, what do you do? He said, I'm in the book and the publishing business. I said, really? I said, I know a little bit of something about that. I just kind of did my own book. And he's like, really? So he and I talked about books and publishing. And then I looked over there, and there was another guy, and I went over there and talked to him. I said, what do you do? He said, I'm in the commercial real estate business. And I said, well, I'm in the mortgage business. And so we talked about, commercial mortgages and commercial real estate. So we had a nice little conversation. And then there was a guy standing there, and he had a fireman's hat. He brought his fireman's hat like a prop, and he's walking around, and he's kind of, I don't know, as we shall say, kind of blue collar, and he's got his fireman's hat. And I said, you a fireman? He said, yes, sir, I'm a volunteer fireman. I said, whereabouts? He said, well, you probably never heard of it. It's this little place up in Kentucky. And I said, is it near Rattlesnake Ridge? And his eyes got that big. He said, you know about Rattlesnake Ridge? I said, yeah, I've gone up there on a couple of mission trips. He said, we won't even go up there. If there's fire, we just let it burn. He said, you really do? He said, you live here in Atlanta and you go to Rattlesnake Ridge? He just couldn't get over it. And I said, yeah, man, I've had a great time. We've met these people up there and we've been helping them out. Then I look over and there's this dude. He's about this tall. I call him a fire hydrant. He's like this. I said, man, I'd love to just buy those muscles from you because I don't want to put in the effort or whatever it took for you to get those muscles. He said, I wish I could sell them to you because right now I need a job. And I said, you look like you're a gymnast or something. He said, yeah, how'd you know that? And I said, well, I know a little bit of something about that. And I said, so where'd you go to school? He said, I went to the University of Tennessee. He said, I also was a cheerleader there. And I said, really? I said, well, that's why I know something about it. When I was in college, I was a cheerleader. And he said, really? And I said, yeah. And so I look over at Colin and I wink at him. We go into the room next, 12 of us. We sit at this table and there's a lady there at the front of the table and she says, okay. She said, I want y'all to tell me all at the same time why you think you should be the apprentice. And this madness of hollering went on. Everybody's hollering. I'm sitting back. I'm going, well, that's crazy as heck. So I just sat back. I said, well, if it ever calms down and there's a moment of silence, I'll throw something out there. So there was a moment of silence, and I don't even know what I said. And so then the next question was, she said, I want you each to go around the room and tell me who here in the room would you hire or who would you fire? She goes to the first guy. He's got his fireman's hat. He said, I'd hire that fella right there. Said, anybody go to Rattlesnake Ridge is somebody I'd hire. Next guy, the bodybuilder dude. Who would you hire? Oh, I'd hire that guy right there because, anybody that does cheerleading knows what it's all about. Commercial real estate guy. I'd hire that guy right there, Steve. I'd hire him. Went to the next guy, the bald-headed book publishing guy. He said, I'd hire Steve. Everybody that I had a conversation with said they would hire me. I was blown away. So we leave the thing. We come out and we leave, and they say, well, we'll let you know in the next hour or two if you made it. So I get out and Colin's going, wait, how'd you do that? How'd you do it? I said, well, at least 4 or 5 people thought they ought to hire me. They don't even know me. I said, but that's the power, Colin, of what I'm talking to you about. If you spend time with people and it's about them, they will reciprocate. We're about halfway up 400. Mr. Beecham, you're invited to come back for your second interview for The Apprentice. Yes. And then that's when I got home, my wife said, well, this apprentice is about people that don't have a job and looking for a job. And I said, I'm not going to make it.